So it should have just sent you a notice that we're being live streamed.
Yep, you're good.
Okay. Okay, yep, there we are. All right, so yeah, thanks for joining, Adam, for the information open house for the proposed zoning bylaw amendment for 246 and 248 Henrietta Street. So before I begin with the staff presentation, did you want to speak in favor of the application, make any comments, or conduct a presentation?
No, I think we're okay. Are you going to be going through the presentation that I had sent to you the other day, or?
Oh, I prepared my own, but if you wanted to go through yours, that's fine.
Okay,
and then I'll just sure.
Yeah, I'll go through it real quick. It's only a few pages, and I think it's pretty easy to digest. So let me just pull it up here, and I'll see if I could share it.
Sure.
All right, can you see that?
Yep.
Okay, great. So thanks for everyone for attending, either just virtually or just listening in. This is the presentation for the property severance and rezoning of 246/248 Henrietta Street in Fort Erie. So a quick agenda. I've already said the welcome. I'll go through the application quickly, the work that's been underway in the planning vision, and the next steps. So for the folks listening at home, this is an open house opportunity for you all to discuss the project, identify and address any issues or concerns you have about this. We'd like to hear them now before this goes to council, so we could address them and have a positive response to any of the concerns. So if you are familiar with the property, this is what it looks like. You'll see there's a house closer to the front of the road, and there's a house setback on the property as well. So what the idea is, as I mentioned to Mr. Vanderveen previously, many people would probably assume that these two houses are on two separate lots. In reality, they are not. So what we are trying to achieve with this application is to legally separate the lot into two lots, and the rezoning would recognize the smaller lot sizes because there are some deficiencies in setbacks. So the property location, if you're familiar with this area, it's north of the Douglas Memorial Hospital site, a few blocks. So it is on Henrietta, and one of the major intersections would be Gilmore, and I believe that's Concession Road. And that's the inset here, closer up view. So this is the site survey. So as I mentioned before, this is looking to sever the property and rezone the two houses with their own lots. So previously, the lot lines were this thick line here with one dwelling here and one dwelling here. What we are trying to achieve here is to sever the lot to make part one and part two its own lot, and part three here as its own lot. Part two here would be in support of part one. This would, we're proposing that this be the parking lot for this dwelling in part one. You'll see some of the deficiencies here, the side yard setback, along with the front yard setback that would be deficient. So to make that more clear, down here below in this chart, the lot area minimum size for property in this residential zoning is 510 square meters. Lot 1 would be 363 square meters. Lot 2 would be fine with its size. Both properties would lose the required frontage. We're seeking relief. Lot 1 has a setback of 13 meters and, sorry, not a setback, but frontage. So Lot 1 would lose, oh yeah, Lot 1 is here, sorry. Lot 1, this would be 13 meters, and the frontage for this lot here would be this 4.37. So both deficient of the 15 meters, of course. So we're seeking relief for that. Also the front yard, so Lot 1 would be okay. The requirement is 6 meters. We're proposing 6.1 meters for Lot 1. And the front yard for Lot 2 is it's pretty small. Actually, those might be mixed up. But the side yard setback, again, for this property here is a little bit under the requirements. So the requirement calls for 1.5 meters. We're looking at 1.2 to 1.3 meters. So we're off by just a little bit there, but we're seeking relief for all the ones in red, and hopefully the town can accommodate that. From our perspective at LandPro and on behalf of our clients, this is largely a legal change. If this gets approved tomorrow and you walk by it, nothing will significantly change on the site, except you'll have a curb cut here to accommodate the new driveway. So nothing about the characteristics of this lot would change. It would mostly be legal in nature. So that basically concludes my presentation. If you do have any questions or concerns, you can email us at info@landproplan.ca. Again, your feedback's very important. We want to know if there's any concerns or issues that you would like to see addressed prior to the legislative public meeting proposed for August 25th. And we're happy to address these concerns and have a further discussion. So thank you, Mr. Vanderveen. That concludes my presentation, and be happy to hear from you or anyone else that has any questions.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Adam. I don't think I have any questions at this point. I'll go through the staff presentation. It'll basically retread a lot of what you covered, but is what it is, I suppose.
Great, thanks.
So I'll start sharing my screen. Okay, so you can see the presentation? Great.
Yep.
Okay, so yeah, this information open house is intended to provide information on a proposed zoning bylaw amendment for 246 and 248 Henrietta Street in the town of Fort Erie, and to receive feedback and comments from the public on the proposal in advance of the formal public meeting. The proposed zoning bylaw amendment intends to permit severance of 246 and 248 Henrietta Street. Currently, 2 single detached dwellings exist on one property. This proposal seeks to create one new lot, so each single detached dwelling would be located on its own lot. Got ahead of myself there. The subject property is located in the south end neighborhood of the town of Fort Erie on the south side of Henrietta Street. The following summarizes the land uses surrounding the subject property. To the north, single detached dwellings. To the south, single detached dwellings. To the east, single detached dwellings. And to the west, single detached dwellings in a multi-residential property. The subject property is designated low-density residential in the town's south end secondary plan. This land use designation permits single detached dwellings. The subject property is currently zoned residential 2 R2 zone in the town's zoning bylaw. A zoning bylaw amendment is required to permit several zoning departures on the retained lot and the proposed new lot that will result from severance of the property. This slide illustrates the proposed lot boundaries over top a survey sketch of the property. For reference purposes, north is oriented to the right of the screen. The first lot with the dwelling known as 248 Henrietta Street on it is illustrated in red on the slide. The zoning of this lot will change from residential 2 R2 zone to a site-specific R2 zone that contains zoning provisions to permit the following. Reduced lot area of 363.8 square meters. The R2 zone requires a minimum lot area of 510 square meters. Reduced lot frontage of 13 meters. The R2 zone requires a minimum lot frontage of 15 meters for interior lots. Reduced interior side yard setback of 1.28 meters on the west side for a 1.5 story dwelling. The R2 zoning requires a minimum interior side yard setback of 1.5 meters for a dwelling over 1 story in height. And I'd just like to point out that that setback, that site-specific provision will be recognizing the existing setback to the parcel to the west. It's not a new zoning departure. The second lot with the dwelling known as 246 Henrietta Street on it is illustrated in yellow on the slide. The zoning of this lot will change from R2 zone to a site-specific residential 2 R2 zone that contains provisions to permit the following. Reduced minimum lot frontage of 4.37 meters. The R2 zoning requires a minimum lot frontage of 15 meters for interior lots. And reduced interior side yard setback of 1.47 meters for a 1.5 story dwelling on the north side. That would be to the proposed new lot line from 248 Henrietta Street. The R2 zoning requires a minimum interior side yard setback of 1.5 meters for a dwelling over 1 story in height. And I'd just like to note that planning staff, that the intent of the zoning bylaw generally is to have 1 dwelling on 1 lot. So although there are some departures in the zoning, this proposal is actually bringing the property into greater conformity with the town zoning bylaw. So that concludes the staff presentation. We're going to keep the meeting open until 6 in case there's any late arrivals. Adam, did you have any questions of me at this time?
No, that's good, Daryl. I appreciate your presentation. You're right. It covered mostly the same stuff I did and with greater specificity. So that's, I appreciate that. Thank you. But very good. Yeah, thank you.
Great. Yeah, so just to point it out, the public meeting is it's actually August 23rd on the Monday.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. So any residents who would like to speak will have opportunity to do so and actually make comments directly to council, as will you or your client. You know, you'll be able to speak to council directly and they may have questions for you. It's all part of the public meeting process. I think that's pretty much it. So yeah, did you say you wanted to stick around for the rest of the meeting, Adam, or?
Yeah, I'll stick around. I'll just turn my camera and microphone off and, you know, maybe in 20 minutes or half an hour, if we don't see anyone pop up, then maybe I'll say my goodbyes. But just in case anyone does show up, I'd like to stay on.
Okay, no worries. Yeah, I'll do the same. I'm going to shut my camera and my audio off, but I'll cycle through the presentation and keep an eye on the attendee room if anybody else joins the meeting.
Okay, thanks, Daryl.
Yeah, no worries.